Close your eyes now, my dear, and let this be the moment you finally stop speaking to yourself the way the world sometimes has. You don't need to fix anything tonight. You don't need to prove anything tonight. You only need to breathe, to soften, to listen to a gentler voice. 12 gentle truths are waiting for you here, each one a small doorway into kindness, into healing, into the quiet relationship you've been longing to have with yourself. There is nothing to prepare, nothing to earn, nothing you must get right before you're allowed to begin. Just your breath, arriving and leaving, patient and unhurried, asking nothing more of you than presence. Nothing is required of you except your breath and your willingness to speak softly tonight. So let your shoulders drop, let your jaw loosen, let your whole body settle a little deeper into wherever it's resting, and let us begin together, softly, the way healing always begins. The voice you speak in when no one is listening. There is a voice inside you, my dear, that only you ever truly hear, quiet and constant beneath everything else you do. Sometimes it is gentle, sometimes it is harsh, often without you even noticing which one is currently speaking. Tonight, let's simply listen to that voice for a moment. What has it been saying to you lately? Breathe in slowly, and as you exhale, whisper softly, I am willing to speak to myself more gently. Feel how unfamiliar that sentence might sound at first, almost like meeting a stranger you've somehow known your whole life. A woman once said she hadn't realized how harshly she spoke to herself until she finally paused long enough to listen. What did she discover in that quiet, unfiltered moment? This isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about noticing the tone you use when no one else can hear. That private voice shapes far more than most people realize, coloring confidence, coloring rest, coloring how safe you feel inside your own mind. Tonight, we begin gently shifting that tone, not through force, but through simple, repeated kindness. And kindness, spoken quietly enough, has a way of rewriting what you believed was permanent. Why your words become what you believe. Have you noticed how a thought repeated often enough eventually stops feeling like a thought and starts feeling like truth? Whether that thought was kind or cruel, the mind rarely questions something it has heard 1,000 times before. This isn't weakness, my dear, it's simply how the mind learns. Through repetition, through familiarity, through a real-world example makes this easier to feel than any explanation could offer. A man once said he spent years quietly telling himself he wasn't capable, until one day he realized he'd simply never questioned where that belief came from. The moment he began replacing it with, I am capable of learning, something in him slowly began to shift. He hadn't expected such a small sentence to carry so much quiet weight. The emotional pattern here is subtle but very real for nearly everyone who examines it closely. Harsh words repeated internally tend to shrink confidence, narrowing what feels possible, narrowing what feels safe to attempt. Kind words repeated internally tend to widen that same space, gently, one repetition at a time. What you say to yourself today is quietly becoming what you believe about yourself tomorrow. Notice, just for a moment, the tone of your own thoughts right now. Not the content, just the tone. Is it gentle? Is it harsh? Simply notice, without needing to change anything yet, the small sentence that changes everything inside. There is one small sentence, my dear, that seems to soften almost anything it touches, no matter how tightly held. It isn't complicated, it isn't clever, it's simply honest, spoken quietly, directly to yourself. Tonight, Let's practice saying it together. What happens the moment you finally mean it? Whisper softly. I am doing the best I can, and that is enough. Feel how your chest responds to those words, how something in you seems to exhale just slightly. Say it again, slower this time. I am doing the best I can, and that is enough. Notice what softens as you repeat it. This sentence isn't about lowering your standards. It's about finally releasing the impossible ones you never agreed to in the first place. Most people carry expectations borrowed from somewhere else, rarely questioning whether those expectations were ever truly fair. Tonight, this one honest sentence gently interrupts that borrowed standard, replacing it with something kinder, something true. As we continue into this, there's a quiet reason certain wounds only begin healing once you finally stop blaming yourself for carrying them. What kindness does that criticism never could? Criticism believes it motivates, my dear, but more often it simply tightens the body and narrows the mind. Kindness works differently, quietly loosening what criticism only ever manages to clench tighter. Tonight, let's notice the difference directly, in your own body, in this exact moment. Place your hand over your heart and whisper, I am allowed to be gentle with myself. Feel how your shoulders respond, how your breath deepens without needing to be forced. A woman once said she accomplished more in a single gentle week than she had in months of harsh self-criticism. What was it about gentleness that finally gave her the space to actually move forward? To criticize Victorian, criticism narrows the nervous system, keeping it braced, defensive, constantly bracing for failure before it's even happened. Kindness widens that same nervous system, creating room for creativity, for rest, for genuine, sustainable effort. Once kindness becomes the default tone, growth tends to happen more naturally, without needing to be forced, and that growth, unlike criticism's version, tends to actually last. The moment you stop being your own criticist, there is a specific moment, my dear, when the harsh internal voice finally softens into something more like a friend. Most people never notice this moment arriving, yet it holds more healing power than years of external validation ever could. Tonight, let's slow down enough to actually witness it happening within you. Breathe in, and as you exhale, whisper, I release the need to criticize myself into being better. Feel your jaw unclench. Feel something in your chest loosen that has been tight for longer than you realized. A retired nurse once said, the day she stopped criticizing herself was the same day her healing finally truly began. What changed in her the moment her inner critic finally went quiet? The inner critic believes it is protecting you, keeping you sharp, keeping you safe from disappointment or failure. But criticism rarely protects, it mostly exhausts, keeping the nervous system in a constant, quiet state of alarm. Once you gently release that critic, even briefly, something calmer steps forward to take its place. And that calmer voice, it turns out, was capable of guiding you all along, a gentle truth hidden inside every mistake. Old traditions understood mistakes differently than most modern minds do, my dear. Not as failures, but as simply part of learning. They believed self-blame slowed healing far more than the mistake itself ever could. Somewhere along the way, this understanding faded, replaced by harsh judgment disguised as high standard. An elderly woman once said her grandmother taught her that every mistake carries a lesson wrapped gently inside disappointment. She still repeats this to herself, decades later, whenever she feels the old urge to harshly judge herself. What is it about seeing mistakes this way that brings such immediate, noticeable relief? The pattern many notice is emotional rather than purely philosophical in nature, though both play a role here. Self-blame practiced habitually seems to slow healing, keeping the nervous system anxiously replaying what already happened. Gentle reflection, offered instead, allows the lesson to be received without the added weight of shame. That small shift seems to quietly protect your peace no matter what mistake you're learning from. Just for a moment, imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you deeply love. Notice how different those words already sound in your mind. Softer, warmer, kinder than usual. Why speaking softly heals faster than speaking loudly? Many people believe healing requires intensity, dramatic breakthroughs, forceful determination pushed through gritted teeth. But healing, my dear, usually responds far better to softness than it ever does to force or pressure. Tonight, let's notice what softness actually does inside the body. A gentle word repeated quietly, a slow breath taken without urgency, a pause instead of a demand for immediate change. None of these look dramatic, yet each one often creates more lasting change than force ever could. A woman once said her softest, quietest affirmations worked faster than any intense, forceful self-improvement effort she'd tried before. What might soften in you tonight simply by lowering your own internal volume? The mechanism here is simple, though rarely discussed in everyday conversation between people. The nervous system responds to tone, softening naturally when spoken to gently, tightening when spoken to harshly. Recognizing this shifts how you choose to motivate yourself, moving away from force and toward invitation. And once invitation replaces force, change tends to happen more easily, one quiet, gentle repetition at a time. The forgotten art of talking to yourself like someone you love. Somewhere along the way, my dear, many of us learn to speak to ourselves more harshly than we would ever speak to a friend. Tonight, we practice remembering a different way, an older way, a kinder way that never actually left. Imagine someone you love deeply, and imagine speaking to them the way you often speak to yourself. Notice how uncomfortable that feels, how unfamiliar, how unlike the warmth you naturally offer people you care about. Now whisper to yourself instead, I deserve the same kindness I so easily give to others. A grandmother once said this simple shift changed how she spoke to herself more than any other practice she'd tried. This forgotten art doesn't require perfection, only practice, only the willingness to notice when harshness creeps back in. Speaking to yourself with love bypasses years of old habit, reaching directly toward the part of you that simply wants comfort. You already know how to speak this way. You do it for others every single day. Tonight, you are simply relearning how to offer that same kindness to yourself. What changes when you finally forgive yourself? Din vis. Endelig sad. There is a moment, my dear, when holding on to old guilt becomes more exhausting than releasing it ever could be. Most people resist that moment, afraid that forgiveness means forgetting or excusing what happened. But forgiveness, tonight, means something gentler than that. Something more like finally setting down a heavy weight. Whisper, softly, I forgive myself, and I release what I've been carrying. Feel your chest loosen. Feel your breath deepen. Feel something old finally begin to soften. A man once said the moment he forgave himself for a decades-old mistake, he slept more deeply than he had in years. What had he been unknowingly carrying simply by refusing to let it go? Forgiveness isn't excusing what happened. It's releasing the ongoing punishment you've been quietly administering to yourself since. The past cannot be changed by continued self-blame. Only the present moment can be softened by finally releasing it. Once forgiveness enters, space opens, quietly, for something calmer, something kinder, something more like peace. And in that space, healing finally has room to begin. The quiet power of a single kind word. One kind word, my dear, spoken sincerely to yourself, carries more power than most people ever give it credit for. It doesn't need to be elaborate. It doesn't need to be perfectly worded. It only needs to be true. Tonight, let's practice offering yourself just one. Quietly, gently breathe in, and as you exhale, whisper a single word. Perhaps enough, or safe, or simply loved. Feel how that one word settles into your chest, how it asks nothing further of you except to be received. A woman once said a single whispered word, repeated nightly, slowly rebuilt a relationship with herself she thought was permanently broken. What single word might your own heart be quietly waiting to hear tonight? Words carry vibration, tone, intention, far beyond their literal meaning or dictionary definition. A single kind word, repeated sincerely, seems to reach places longer explanations rarely manage to touch. Tonight, let one word be enough, offered gently, without needing anything more elaborate to follow it. Sometimes healing begins with exactly that. One small, sincere, quietly spoken word. Why your inner voice shapes your outer world. The way you speak to yourself, my dear, quietly shapes how you move through the rest of your life. A gentle inner voice tends to create gentler choices, softer boundaries, more patient relationships with others as well. Tonight, let's notice how deeply connected these two things truly are. A retired teacher once said the moment she softened how she spoke to herself, her relationships with others softened too, almost immediately. She hadn't expected an internal shift to ripple so visibly into her external world. What might shift around you once your inner voice finally becomes a kinder one? This isn't magic, it's simply consistency. The same tone you use internally tends to leak outward, whether you intend it to or not. A harsh inner voice often creates harsh external reactions, tension, impatience, quiet exhaustion carried into every interaction. A kind inner voice tends to create the opposite, patience, warmth, room for both yourself and others to simply be human. Tonight, as you soften internally, notice how much lighter everything around you may soon begin to feel. The gentle ending that begins a new beginning. There is a soft threshold, my dear, between the old, harsh way of speaking to yourself and the gentler way, waiting just beyond it. You are standing at that threshold right now, closer than you may realize, closer with every kind word you've practiced tonight. Let's walk through it together, slowly, the way one enters a quiet room without disturbing anything inside. Whisper one final time. I speak to myself with kindness, and everything begins to heal. Let those words become softer with each repetition, until they feel less like practice and more like simply who you are. A woman once said that by the fourth repetition, she could no longer tell where the old harsh voice had gone. That is exactly where you are welcome to arrive tonight too. This threshold doesn't require you to do anything else, my dear, only to keep speaking gently, keep softening, keep allowing the kindness to settle in. Whatever healing has stirred tonight will continue quietly on its own, long after these words have gone quiet. You don't need to hold on to any of this consciously. Your heart already knows exactly what to do with it. Simply rest now, and let the rest of the healing happen without you, quietly, the way it always begins, one kind word at a time. There is nothing left for you to prove tonight, my dear. Only breath, only kindness, only the quiet voice you've been practicing all along. You've spoken gently to your doubts, your mistakes, your old harsh habits, and each one has softened just a little tonight. That softening doesn't end the moment this meditation does. It continues quietly through the night and into the mornings ahead. You don't have to remember every word. You don't have to get it perfectly right. You only have to keep practicing gently. Let your breathing grow slower now. Let your thoughts grow fewer and softer, like a voice finally lowering after years of shouting. If an old harsh thought drifts through, simply let it pass, the way a cloud passes without needing your permission or your attention. Whatever you've been carrying, however heavy, is welcome to soften a little further with every kind word you offer yourself from here forward. Whatever mistake you've been quietly punishing yourself for has already been forgiven enough for tonight, and it doesn't need to be picked back up. You are safe here, in this gentler voice, in this soft permission, in this quiet relationship you are slowly rebuilding with yourself. Notice how much lighter your chest already feels, how much less defended, how much more like rest. Let this kindness settle now, unhurried, the way healing always has, wrapping around you like something warm and long overdue, something that was always yours to receive. And when morning finally arrives, however it arrives, know that the healing continued quietly the entire time you rested, without needing your effort, without needing perfection. Only your willingness to finally gently speak kindly. Whatever you carried into tonight, you don't have to carry the same way tomorrow. Something has already shifted here, even if only slightly, even if only for tonight. Rest now gently, my dear. You are enough. You are loved. You are healing, truly. And this quiet kindness will still be here, waiting for you, for as long as you need.